Oh, sorry. 1 second. Ugh! Sorry, I'm beating the dead horse of white guys with beards doing movie reviews of things in space. Hold on. So what's up? I know. I haven't done this in a long time. My bed's on the ground now. Alex Jones lost custody of his kids. Donald Trump fired the FBI guy. Things are happening. The world sucks. But I have this great t-shirt, and it's so nice, and I love it. But that's not why you're here. You're here because you read the thing saying Galaxy Vol2. So how about that there, Guardians, huh? Well, we all know what this is about. It's about four assholes, a tree guy, a green lady, and a guy who might have some powers. But his name is Peter Quill, and he's just a guy. Or Star-Lord. Who? Yeah, yada yada yada. Bad joke, I know. So, yeah, this movie, I don't really know how to go slow about this, and I feel like I'm always gushing about movies, but I feel like I'm not even seeing that many movies, and I feel like. You know what I'm saying? But it's really hard to narrow anything down to really talk about because everything in this movie is so great. So, I mean, just going to start out with the basics, which is the characters, and they're fantastic. I mean, everyone is written in a way where they do a lot of the show don't tell, but at the same time, they write really clever dialogue for them that grows the characters and makes you laugh the whole time, which is, I mean, is there any better way to tell a story? Because if there is, please let me know. Please write it in the comments and go, hey, dum dum, this is how you do it better. But, there's Groot. He's fantastic. He's subtle. He's like the minion of the movie. But they still manage to somehow develop a character who just says, I'm Groot. Developed. Boom. Rocket Raccoon. He probably has one of my favorite scenes that I could see some people not liking. There's this sequence that takes place in the forest. It makes me feel kind of like there's a cabin in the woods, where it was very reminiscent of a certain movie that fetishizes cutting off limbs. And if you can't read what I'm trying to say here, I'm sorry I'm touching my arm so much. I had an itch. There's a big Evil Dead reference in the movie, and I fucking loved it. And it's with Rocket Raccoon, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Sorry for quoting JonTron. I know he sucks now, but oh my god. Oh my god. Like, it's such a wonderful sequence. This movie is filled with all this fantastic 80s nostalgia, and it works so well. It's like, hey, Pixel, hold on. We got a message for you. You see that? That's for you, Adam Sandler. Fuck you. But let's see, we talked about those two. Gamora, she even gets a bit of a character. I mean, like, all the characters get an arc, which is fantastic. But Gamora, I would say, was probably the weakest, but at the same time, she was doing her character. And Nebula, her sister, who is very one note, is there and elevates her performance and her character, which is super nice to have and makes it really enjoyable to watch them go at each other. And there's a reason for it, and I really enjoyed it. But to top it all off, there's Peter Quill, played by Chris Pratt, and that guy just oozes charisma, personality. It's falling out his butt, oozing out his eyes, coming out his ears. Like, that guy is too much fun to watch. Like, I can't wait to see where that guy's career goes. He's a phenomenal actor. I look up to that guy like nobody's business. I think he nails the part from beginning to end. Some people are saying, he can't cry good, and they can just suck it. But, to top it off, which might have been my favorite character in the movie, is Yondu. What's his name? Fuck, I forget his name, but the guy he was on The Walking Dead, he's in Super, he's a fantastic actor. I truly, truly love him. I can't remember his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe it'll come through and I'll spit it out at some point. Michael Rooker, that's the guy. Yeah. He gets a really great character arc, and a lot of people, they complained that the characters split up in this movie, and it's like, no, that's what I want. Like, they're established. Like, we see them as a team, but then we can see them on their own, you know, so they can have their own spotlight and we can just pay attention to them. Because when all the characters are on the screen, you're like, and that's great in the opening scene. Like, I love that, and that was enough. And we have the first movie to go back and watch that shit. But, like, with all these characters split up, it's just fantastic. And Yondu has this moment with a character that you wouldn't expect with Rocket, and it's beautiful. It's awesome. Like, the character arcs in this movie are just unbelievable. Like, I got this whole sense of fun and, like, bewilderment and just awe the whole time watching this movie, where it's not an accident I'm wearing this La La Land-esque shirt. Like, this movie made me feel the same way La La Land did, and I love the fuck out of La La Land. So you can probably kind of see where this is going. But back to what I was saying about Yondu, was this really unexpected character arc between him and Rocket comes through, and it's really awesome. Like, it's unexpected because you're like, oh, he's just the cool looking character, but they give him some depth and they make him really interesting. And then as the film progresses, they bump up the other characters and make them have like a little bit more depth to them. And just the last one that's worth mentioning is none other than Kurt Russell comes in the movie, and he plays Ego, which is Peter Quill's dad, and he's great. I mean, spoiler alerts, he's there for a Giant Thing reference, but this whole movie is a giant love letter to 80s movies, and just like fucking, you know, blockbuster, popcorn, bullshit fun, because like, them saying we're family, you know, like, that's the Fast and Furious line, and the movie knows that. Like, the whole time the movie's like, hey, ding, you know, like, it knows that it's taking a big wink at the audience, and it loves it, and you're gonna love it too watching it, because the movie is set up so perfectly. Every shot is gorgeous. The CGI, amazing. I know that that is very shallow things to say, but here's where the nitty gritty comes into play. A big thing for me is I love when the image and the sound just mix like sex. And there's a thing called diegetic and non-diegetic, and this movie does that perfectly. What that means is, diegetic is when the audience can hear the music or the sounds or whatever that we hear as an audience. Non-diegetic is when they can't hear those sounds that we're hearing. And this movie, like a musical, like another movie maybe that I mentioned, plays with these diegetic, you know, faculties, so to speak, and it works perfectly, you know, like the way that they incorporate at one point like lyrics into the dialogue like brought me to tears. Like, not only was the opening beautiful and just filled with so much joy watching Groot dance to Mr. Blue Sky, like, I seriously cannot stop thinking about that scene. I want to have the movie right now so I could rewatch it so many times. Like, juxtaposing all these songs with this beautiful sci-fi bullshit of acid trippery is just like, it's like peanut butter and bacon and like on a burger. It's like, this works. What the hell is this? Like, I know that I'm blowing up here, and I want to say that there is some flaws with this, and there are, but like, I can look past them because these flaws are just in certain moments where they make Kurt Russell look young. The CG doesn't make him look like young Kurt Russell. It makes old Kurt Russell look young, but it doesn't look like the young Kurt Russell I've seen in all these movies. But that's for like less than 5 minutes, and I don't give a shit because everything is so good. Everything. All the colors, all the dialogue, all the music. It's just a synergy of just beautiful, and I'm gonna call it, this is an instant classic, a masterpiece, if you will. Can't recommend this movie enough. Go watch it. What are you doing? Go watch it. And I can't believe that I'm gonna say this, but the 3D was fucking amazing. And if you see this in 3D, you'll notice that this was designed to be shot in 3D. I mean, when Drax is jumping into the monster and they rack focus to change his position to show every row of teeth in the monster's mouth, come on, that's the fanboy wazoo, you know? That's like what everyone, like, These are the concepts that when they're put into a movie with strong characters and a good story, it's the best it can be. And I challenge anyone out there who watches this, one of the three people, tell me a way you think that this movie could be improved, because there aren't any. Some people have told me, that some of the more emotional parts aren't carried well, and that's just your opinion, man. Because I thought that all these characters nailed their parts, and I can't wait to see them again, and I can't wait to watch this movie again, because this is a classic. This is the best Marvel has done yet. Like, I know that I think the last movie I gave like a standing ovation, 10 out of 10 to, was Train to Busan, and that's fucking great too for a zombie movie. And the other one, what was it that I really loved recently? It was Swiss Army Man, but that's besides the point. Those were both 10s, and so is this. I give this a 10 out of 10. Do you remember the first time you saw Star Wars, man? Like, you remember that? Like, you're like, oh, who's this Luke Skywalker? Oh, Han Solo. Oh, there's a Chewbacca. Like, the camaraderie, the fun, it's all there. You need to see this. This is fantastic. This is for your baby brother and your grandma and everyone in between, including me. I'm going to keep beating that horse. You stay classy, guy sitting or woman sitting at the computer, pushing the button, and goodbye. And just to top it off one more time, because I've topped this off like 3 times, I didn't mention this, Drax. Now, he was probably, all the characters have tons of fans. Everyone has their favorite, but in this one, I love them all, but Yondu was my favorite in this movie, but god damn it, Drax was hilarious. The shtick that they're doing, it may not work for everyone, but boy did it work for me. Just had to throw that in there. Didn't want to miss out on my buddy Drax. He did an amazing job. He's probably one of the better wrestler turned actors. I can't wait until they do a movie with him and John Cena and The Rock. It'll be awesome. But yeah, Drax in this movie was hilarious. I loved every second and every word he said.